You are listening to All Bang Up.
Who that? Who there?
We go. Welcome to All Banged Up episode 5. This is our first live stream, huh, Buds?
Yeah, 5.
Now, I got to ask, first things first, Buds, how are you doing?
So good, my dog.
Love that. Now, to my left, we have a special guest today. We got Mikey LeBlanc in the studio.
What's up?
So
Good to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
we're happy to have you, Mikey. Now, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the show. We got a great show today. We're going to start off with heater clips. We're going to talk about our favorite clips from the internet. We're going to talk about Rider of the Year, little Rider of the Year discussion. We're going to get into BNN, where Buds breaks down the hard-hitting topics that we don't see on the internet every single day. We're going to check in with Mikey, and then we're going to take calls at the end of the show. So, first things first, what I'd like to do is start off with heater clips. Now, for heater clips, we're going to get started with Zeb Powell's Nollie Back Rodeo 900. What do you think about this one, Mikey?
I mean, I just got the opportunity to ride with Zeb last weekend or 2 weekends ago down in Bear. This doesn't surprise me at all after spending a couple afternoons with him. I mean, he's just an athlete. He's amazing. He's got the pop. He's got the energy. So, and I think it just looks like he's having fun too. Typically, you might see a huge spin off a giant jump, but he's really just playing around and enjoying it. I love it.
Hang on, we got some technical difficulties. Jules, just hit record, right? That's all you got to do.
Is the power off?
Open and close the screen, and then once that's on, hit record. So open the screen back up, and then now hit record. Okay, now we should be good.
Live.
All right, we're live. Sorry, we had a couple technical difficulties. Now, the Zeb clip is superhuman. He pops like he's a freaking... He goes like 10 feet higher than he should. It makes no sense. Now, for the next clip we're going to get into, I think we should talk about Mia Brooks. She's the first female to do a flat cab 1260, from what I understand. Not a double cork. Anna Gasser's done those. But she goes absolutely Richter scale on a cab 12. I think that's an Audi 9s.
Shit, that Audi 9 setup, let's talk about that. Wow, perfectly manicured. That is just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to the Audi 9's park crew. That's like a work of art. There's what that is. Now, let's keep moving through some clips. So one of my favorite I've seen on the internet is Brandon Reese. He's been killing it in his backyard. He basically set up a pole jam corrugated up to a tree. He swings around the entire tree and then goes back down the corrugated like freaking rope swing Johnson over here.
Leave it to him, too, to be able to
fun.
film a video part of his house all year long, basically.
Yeah, he's got the baby sleeping. He's probably got the baby monitor next to him, and he's going tree wraparound rodeo clown on that. Awesome clip. Major shout out to Reese. And then one thing we definitely got to talk about was one of my favorites, and I think you were there for this one, Mikey. It's J.P. Walker's Mctwist.
Yep.
He's been under the radar. You were there for the session, right, Mike?
Yep. And, yeah, I mean, classic JP. He's got, you could basically put him in any clothes on any board, and I could tell you that was JP Walker. That's his style.
Completely timeless. He's been a little under the radar, so it's so good to see him back out in the mix, launching Mickeys.
Yep.
And then we got to talk about Henna. Henna took a crazy bail at the last contest we were at. Oh, we actually don't have that clip. So we're going to get into John Jay's GoPro clips. Oof. John Jay was going absolutely psychotic. Watch this finger he launches, just going to the parking lot.
Yeah, John Jay, I mean, he consistently, I've been around a lot of pro riders that are, I consider to be super gnarly, and they always comment on, I was just with John Jay, and he blew my mind. Mm-hmm. It's like he's everything he's chalked up to be. I also love I don't know if it's on this roll, but where he does the frontside 3 through the tree.
Oh, that was unbelievable.
Nuts.
You know what's crazy about GoPro clips? Like, whenever you film one, you watch it, and you're like, it felt climactic, but the clip isn't climactic. So if the clip is climactic, you're doing something psychotic.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much covers our heater clips. We just kind of wanted to run through some of our favorite things on the internet. And now I think we should talk about Rider of the Year. Mm-hmm. Now, first, we should start off with Zoe, because she won both Slush Rider of the Year and Torment. Now, Mikey, what do you think about Zoe?
I mean, what's not to love? I mean, her style is incredible. She seems to do a little bit of everything, and I'm blown away. Like I've had, some rider crushes before, not, it's just like one of the best athletes I think we've ever seen, male or female, that's just dominating. Her style's perfect. She does amazing tricks. And, nothing not to love.
She's young, too. How old is she? Anyone know?
I do not know. I would say like around 20.
Yeah, just imagine what we're going to see in the years to come from her. It's just going to be outrageous.
Yeah.
I'd like to think she's going to go on about a 10-year run of domination. And you'd think she did great in all the slopestyle contests, big air contests. Then she went to natural selection, won that, which usually takes riders years to get their powder legs. And my favorite thing about Zoe is her style is incredible. You watch her do a switchboard slide 270 off of an up rail or something. She's like stalling it out, poking it, landing with authority. She's definitely about to go on a decade-long run of destruction. So
yeah, I also love, like, at the X Games when she won the last X Games, how she sent it like halfway down the landing and just stomped, and I was like, really impressed. I think my knees might have exploded.
Her Olympic winning
That's
run,
so
she did a
sick.
back 10 and landed like 3/4 of the way down the landing. It was unreal.
amazing.
So that's covers the roadie for female, and then for male we had an interesting one because Jed won the Torment one, and then Spencer won Slush. Now, do you have any thoughts on this, Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, I voted for both of these people, and in both cases when I was casting my vote, I was so torn. Like, I typically am like, I know exactly what I want to do here, and I really had to just kind of flip a coin. I mean, Jed went out and filmed an insane amount of footage. To me, Jed is my GOAT of handrails of all time. He's like my favorite rail rider. But the Spencer part was a piece of art, and I think that's why I actually voted. I'm going to, tell you, I voted for Spencer for Slush and Jed for Torment because Spencer had already won. I figured, like, spread the love a little bit. But I do think Spencer's part was like a song. Like, he really put together a beautiful song, and it's just so well edited. The music's is amazing, and then Jed, he's just been dominant. So I was happy to see them both win. I think they're both incredible.
Now, you got to film a lot with Spenny. Is he living up to his name or what?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm blown away by just. I mean, I've seen a lot of things go down over the years, and he just rolls up to spots that I would never even consider, and it's just like not even a second thought. So yeah, amazing.
So I got a couple things on this too because there's a couple factors. You have Jed, who, I'm with you. It's so awesome that he finally won Rider of the Year.
Yeah,
because
amazing.
he's been due for a long time. Yeah. And he filmed everything in basically one winter and then went back in the fall and filmed 3 video parts.
Totally, yeah.
And the thing I like about Jed is that he filmed 3 video parts in 1 year. He also rode backcountry. He had backcountry shots and street shots. And I really am stoked for Jed in that regard. And it just makes me happy to see that he got it. And I think that, I don't know if this is, speculation, but I know Adidas might have like some type of crazy bonus for these guys.
Cool.
So I think there might be some motivation there. I don't want to speak. That's unconfirmed, but kind of interesting stuff if he was going for that big bonus. And then Spencer, his part was filmed over 2 years, and he was willing to die for it.
Right.
Like, he
Incredible.
on his ender rail, that's a lifetime achievement award situation where he gave his insurance card to the boys and said, if I go to the hospital, here's my insurance information. I'm willing to die for this. And
I had that exact same convo with people. They're like, why didn't you this or that? I'm like, it's the video. I mean, the last shot. The rest is flawless, but the last shot, I mean, maybe I'm old school, but like, if you're not putting it on the line to potentially kill yourself, I'm sorry.
Totally.
This is what it is.
I bet a lot of people don't know that you guys go through that you're actually ready to put it all on the line.
Yeah.
That's incredible and just is a testament to what athletes you guys all are.
I also wanted to add one thing about what you were saying about Jed. I think maybe people do or don't know this, but I mean, he's a prodigy. Like, he was like winning. He was like 12 when he really started going, and then he went and won the half pipe and the jeans, and like he got dropped and came back. He's the boxer that literally got knocked out and kicked out of the league and kept coming back and back and back. And I feel like, I wouldn't say there was a chip on the shoulder, but he just like, I'm so happy to see him completely in love with snowboarding and willing to like now admit that and really go get it too. Because I think for a while he got booted so many times. He was just like, why can't I just want to do this? And he was getting, unsupported continually. And it's so cool he has Brand supporting him now and he feels comfortable and he's like all in.
Totally. And he loves snowboarding again.
Yeah.
And that's one of the cool things. Like he came out to Bombhole Cup and he was riding with all the squad. I don't think the Jed 4 years ago you'd see out there maybe riding in Bombhole Cup, and it seems like he loves it, and he just looks right on a snowboard. There's people that just look right on a snowboard, and Jed is one of those few people.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank goodness he came back to us, right?
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
One thing we should get into, I think our next topic is a favorite of the listeners and the viewers. If you're unfamiliar, it's called BNN, Buds' News Network. And he's going to take you through some hard-hitting topics. Here we go.
Welcome to BNN, Buds' News Network. Welcome.
Okay, Buds.
Let's go. Welcome to BNN. So the first topic, a Florida man went out to a club and bought some meth. He got home. Though, and he's thinking, this meth seems a little weird. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it had a weird smell. I don't know. So he calls 911 and asked the police to come and do a check to make sure that the drugs are real. Police showed up, tested his drugs, and carted him off to jail.
Wow, only in Florida.
Only in Florida, right? So this next one, a company in Europe, in the UK actually, has released a masturbation pod for their employees. It's called the Whack Pod. And it's actually every employee gets 30 minutes once a week with it. And it's equipped with VR to take you up a notch. And they're saying that it's making much more relaxed employees and much more creative employees. And everyone's just a lot happier. And luckily, or hopefully, it'll stop people like this next guy in China who got caught on CCTV actually trying to make love to a house. And this is real right here, as you can see.
Is that a PVC pipe?
That is, it's unconfirmed whether it's metal or plastic, but he actually, for a second, looks up at the camera on CCTV, as you can see, and he just doesn't care. He is making love to this house. Sweet, sweet love.
Wow.
So, we talked on the last BN, or maybe a couple BNNs ago, about the 90-day fiance who was jarring her farts and selling them for a pretty good amount of money. She couldn't keep up with the flatulence she needed to fill the jars, so she actually was hospitalized for eating too many beans and eggs. The first day alone, apparently, she made $200,000. And the demand was coming in too quick, so all she was doing was eating beans after beans, every type of bean and eggs, and she thought she was having a heart attack, and they carted her off, and it was just too much gas buildup.
Wow.
Which, in more flatulence and poop news, in the East Coast, there's the case of the mad pooper. This lady was running around neighborhoods and defecating in people's yards.
I heard about her.
Yeah,
I heard about her.
She was just anywhere she had to go, and apparently she would do this every run. She would just drop trowel, poop on people's yards. And they still have not caught the mad pooper. And in the last bit of flatulence news, last Friday, April 8th, was Dog Farting Awareness Day. And this is a real holiday. And apparently it's just to keep your dogs on a healthy schedule. If their farts are healthy, then you know your dog is healthy. So next year, let's be sure to recognize this holiday. We also talked about a bit on this show, Mike Tyson, and I want to give a props to him for his creativity. He has a new weed gummy that's a bitten ear. And what's funny about this, they had to actually pull these off Colorado shelves because they were worried kids were going to eat them because you can't sell animals or human gummies. And so Mike Tyson's going to have to rethink this one for Colorado.
I love the thought, Mike.
Yeah. Apparently, Mike's making something like $500,000 a month profits on his weed gummies right now.
awesome.
So things are working for him. We also talked on my last episode about the Pokemon cards going for a lot of money online. As a new flex, Logan Paul joined WrestleMania, and instead of wearing a gold chain, he wore a $5 million Pokemon card around his neck.
Wow.
True boss status right there. Dyson, you've heard of Dyson when you the vacuum
cleaners
cleaner and the air purification. They have a new headphone that came out that everyone thought was an April Fool's Day joke. And it actually purifies your air as well as gives you music on the headphones. And it's often as art imitates life. To me, it looks like a superhero costume, as we'll see in this next frame of Bane.
That's exactly what it reminds
Does
me
look
of.
like Bane.
Yeah, who's going to rock that out in the streets, too, right?
I can see Caleb Flowers like hitting a handrail on that.
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
Look
he could
great.
do
Yeah,
that.
actually, that could be some new hipster. Keep your pure. Actually, I guess with all the flatulence we talked about, you're going to have no problem right there with this Dyson. It's called the Zone.
Mhm. You're not going to be able to check your dog properly, though.
Yeah, true. You won't know
wearing
if those farts are healthy, huh?
Nope.
Yeah, and that is BNN.
Wow, great work, buds. Great work.
Digging up that news that I guess most people don't see that I look for every day.
Yeah. Should we play the intro again just to wrap it up and make it seem official? Kyle, what do you think? Yeah, let's play the intro.
Welcome to BNN, Buds' News Network.
We should have had a little
Throw,
stool.
yeah, we're gonna throw him right next to Mikey. So Russ, come talk into this microphone next to Mikey here.
Yep.
We happen to have Russell
I'm short
Winfield,
Special guest.
special guest.
I don't know where I'm looking.
That's your camera over there.
Oh, that guy.
Russ,
Yes.
we're gonna do an impromptu interview with
Okay.
Russell Winfield here.
Sweet.
Now, Russ, how was the event you just had at Big Bear?
AS was fantastic. It was something that I've always wanted to do, and just bring all of the cultures and all of the vibe and all of the things that brought us all together to snowboard to more than just our community. You know, I'd like to expand the community from outside the community, bring new people in and show them how cool it is. And I think it was a success. Got to thank Bear Mountain, Fat Tire, Ride Snowboards, Arc'teryx, 92.3 in LA. I mean, and the list goes on. And I know I'm forgetting you guys, some of you, but
Who showed
Sorry.
up? There were some heavy hitters there too.
oh, there was a lot of heavy hitters.
mic in closer.
There was, let's say, like
OT Genesis.
OT Genesis showed up.
Oh, sick.
Ivan Jasper, who is one of Virgil's great buddies. Willie Wood, who owns Oyster Expeditions. Chris Gibbs, who owns Union. It was, I mean, bunch of like Deshaun Jordan, Zion showed up. Ryan Townley showed up.
Trevor Andrew.
Trevor Andrews showed up.
Gucci
Atiba
Ghost.
Jefferson showed up. Andrew James Peters showed up. It snapped, bro. It was crazy. Like and everybody was so happy and had so much fun. It was a treat.
How'd you come up with the name?
Well, I did a trip last year with Virgil, the first time we got to actually physically hang out, and Dahani Jones, and Corey Lake, and Dave Sipanewski, and Tim Swart, and we were all sitting up at Powderbirds, and we were watching the natural selection, and I looked around, and I looked at Virgil, and I said, that might be the natural selection, but this is the Afro selection. So I didn't really want to call my movement the Afro selection because it's kind of like takes a lot of people out of the movement, and I'm all about everybody. So I changed it to AS, which is short. You know, it's like Afro and selection. I just spelt it a little funky so that, you know, I'll put a little swagooly in there.
That's a
little
great-
sauce.
great
Squiggles in there,
story
yeah.
behind the name. Love that.
That's beautiful. Amazing. Well, what are you doing out here right now?
Playing some music with Michael. You know, I come out here a lot, and Camp K2, which is a big thing that K2 Sports is doing, asked Mikey and I if we would play some music, and we graciously accepted for a nominal fee. No.
Where can we see you play?
You guys can.
Private.
It's
Oh, it's
private.
private.
It's
K2 only.
private. K2 only.
Well, Russell, dude, thank you so much for the quick interview. We're gonna hop in with Mikey. We got some
Perfect.
stuff to cover, but we had to drag you in while you're
Thanks, guys.
while
Appreciate
you're in
you.
the studio.
And all you guys in the back that are actually doing the work, thank you.
Just talking to Jules and Kyle right there who are making this happen.
The only thing I could add about
Actually, go way towards me. You want to
Okay.
go to the right here? Yeah, that's good. And then adjust your mics.
Right. The only thing I want to add about Russ's event, the way I would describe it, it was good and evil. That's what I kind of came away. So many good things, and lots of extracurricular activities that people got into the whole weekend. It was a blast. And the only bummer was that it was same exact weekend of the Bomb Hole Cup. Kind of let's coordinate next year and combine forces, because I think both events were just amazing community gatherings. Just amazing times. So.
We just need to get them on different days than each other, right?
Yeah.
We'll work that
We'll
out.
figure it out.
So we're going to do a quick check-in with Mikey, but before, I want to let you guys know we're going to take calls, and probably, I don't know, we'll probably chat for 10, 15 minutes here with Mikey, and as soon as we're done talking with Mikey, we're going to be taking calls. So that being said, though, Mikey, I've heard through the grapevine that you maybe have been filming some clips this year.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've seen proof.
What?
Yeah, I was hanging
You
out
lived
with actually maybe lived a little bit, but I was hanging out with Justin Meyer, and he hadn't erased a card, and I got a full leak.
Uh-oh.
And
I
it
think that was
impressive.
actually Mike Boggs.
Oh,
Pretty sure it was
yeah.
Mike
See-
Boggs footage.
Oh, he must have
He's
transferred
doing a
it.
Louis Vito where he's kind of dodging the topic.
Mike
I love
Boggs.
it. I love it.
Oh, wrong
AKA,
Mike.
just for the listeners, if you don't know who Mike Boggs is, he's my favorite snowboarder at the moment. Great human, ripping guy.
Ripping human.
Yeah. But anyway, I've been filming a little bit, and it's been a blast. So I don't want to go too far into it, but yes, it's been really fun. And I was describing to Mike Rav yesterday. He was asking me a little bit about it, and I was like, look, it feels like being an amateur again, like coming back, learning the process. Of course, it's sort of like riding a bike. You get back in, but long story short, the best part about it is just being back out with a crew and homies and friends and a little bit of travel, and just it's been also coming out of COVID and not seeing so many people, like immersing myself in something that I love so much has been pretty much everything.
Love that. Now, you were talking about some interesting stuff about how you have been changing your stances according to spots.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I used to work in a rental shop in Breckenridge back in the day, Island Water Sports, in early 90s. I remember Morrow at the time had these rental boards, and the bindings had a little latch you could turn and change the stance. I was like, well, they're really bulky and weird and kind of crappy, but I was like, that's pretty cool. And anyway, this year, a couple times we were going out, and I was thinking of doing a switch ollie at this spot. And I kind of strapped in, kind of visualizing it before, and I was like, it just feels weird. Like, ollieing feels weird. And I was like, screw it, I'm just going to change my angles to... And thinking about skateboarding, when you go to do a switch ollie, you don't point your feet that way. You point them the way you want to go. So I just switched my bindings and did some ollies. It felt right, and I'm going to probably do that. Not for every day on the mountain, but if there's like a spot, which is often people go to a spot, like if it's a shot you really want, you know what you want to get. So I'm going to keep playing around with it. I like it.
Amazing.
So,
I'll tell you what, I tried Posy at the Bomb Hole Cup. Not a fan. Just felt wrong for me. I don't know, the way my knees are built, or
You were flying, though, dog.
Just felt-
Kid was hauling oats.
yeah, it just wasn't backing it.
I have another weird thing about stances too, because I mean, I rolled in most of my career. I rolled pretty much a 0 on my front foot and a -18 on my back foot.
Wow.
And I started doing that because I hurt my MCL, and it just felt right. But what I also noticed is that, like, in my current theories, I just went opposite. For about the last year, I've been running like 3 and 18 on the front. My crappy theory, which I think J2 would love or hate, I'm not sure, is that my body got all these impacts that way, and now I'm bringing it back the other way. I'm trying to even myself out.
Oh, you're balancing your body out.
Twos would love that, because he always said that his body shrunk over the years after all the jumps to flat. He got shorter and shorter and shorter.
Yeah, what do you think about stances, Chris?
I think
do you
it's
play
awesome.
around, or you
it's
like?
an interesting one, because I have, like, my paddleboard has a little more on the front foot. But I also like when switch looks really switch. Like
Right.
I like when your shoulders
Yep.
are back. And so if
Yeah,
I think about opening up my stance for a switch stance, it wouldn't look switch.
Right.
Your shoulders would be open.
Well, what about the shape of the board? I ride like a weird shaped
So
board.
it's obviously switch because
Yeah.
your board is
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah,
directional.
for sure.
That makes sense. Now I want to talk about another thing, Mikey. You know, you're on the older side of people in the industry, right? And so
What?
you've been a marquee pro for a long time. And how do you feel as though, like, the industry, do you think they do a good job taking care of the people that have paved the way before them? Where are we at with brands taking care of people that have inspired generations?
I mean, I think we're starting to see it. I mean, the guy just sitting in the hot seat, Russ, is a great example. I mean, I think he's older than me. And, you know, Ride gave him an opportunity, K2 Sports. There's brands like Arc'teryx picking him up. I know Kevin got picked up by Capita and supporting there. So
Kevin
I think
Jones. Yep.
I think it's starting to happen. You know, for me, I'm a working man. I have a full-time job with Holden. I'm doing that, and I get taken care of where I can, you know, get gear. I can often, you know, get free lift tickets if I want to, and so I feel okay with it. But I do think we're a few years behind, or maybe quite a few years behind. Skateboarding has done a really good job. But I think it's not all on snowboarder brands, because a lot of the snowboarders leave, like the pro snowboarders that I've seen, very few, maybe there's some exceptions like a Chad Otterstrom or people that have chosen a career. But if you look at skate, like guys like Andrew Reynolds, they own brands. They stayed in it. They kept skating. And there's a lot more of that in skateboarding. Surfing, I'm not as aware of. I don't know if you guys know more about surfing and whether that really happens. But I think we're starting to see it. And I think it has to do with, like, it's a two-way street. Like, did the person stay involved and, like, really support snowboarding and really keep in it? You know, there's good and bad examples of that. So I think there may be more of that support coming, because I think brands, if they aren't realizing it, it's like, you know, Ride's, you know, got a 30-year anniversary coming up. Burton's probably like even older than that, 40 years. So there's a 40-year-old customer that probably still snowboards. And do they want to keep up with a 16 to 21-year-old? Absolutely not. And do those people buy product? Absolutely. So who's speaking to them? I think there's brands that have spoken to that older customer and had extreme success, like a Jones Snowboards, or some of those brands that have really pushed that older customer. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think you nailed it on the head with that, because when we were young, target market was what, 12 to 18 at best, you know, and now we've grown up with it. And so there's a whole group of people like us in their 40s and older, and they're all buying products, and they're not looking at that 18-year-old, and they're not looking at people that can do 3 corks or even 270s, cap 270s on rails. You know, they're looking at people like Kevin Jones and split boarders, and you're going to actually be setting that street rider that's 40. You're going to be setting a whole new pace for them, I guess, and creating that customer.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like Chad and look at Bjorn and some of these guys. They're almost my age.
Yeah, they've
a
never
couple
stopped.
years younger. They never stopped. They kept going and pushing. There's guys like Chris Coulter that now guides in AK, and they've found this career, and they have the support of the brands. I don't know if it's at the same level financially, but they also stayed in love with and in touch with. Like, if you're getting bitter because you got cut and left and just, you know, don't snowboard anymore because, I mean, it's kind of, you've lost the reason to be able to talk about that. You know what I mean? If you're in it and you love it, maybe you won't get paid, but there's probably a place for you if you really love it. So I think there's all kinds of levels of support.
Well said. And I think also, too, being somebody that's, I've gone on tour a bunch with 32 with JP Walker.
Yeah.
And, you know, prime example, like, you might be with a bunch of the hottest young kids that are, you know, quote unquote, the shit with their video part. And there is a line a mile long for people to meet JP Walker.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, like, I think that's a really good point of, like, not all snowboarders are, you know, 12 to 20 years old. There's this huge market of people that work regular jobs that are middle-aged. That I go to Brighton with Mikey, and, you know, in the parking lot, there's people that are very, 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 very excited to meet Mikey. And they might not have a single clue who, you know, Tommy Gesme is, or who, that was the first name that came to mind, but the younger generation that's absolutely destroying the dust box kid per se, which obviously needs to be supported, but I
Sure.
do love seeing the brands that keep the Josh Dirksons and the Bjorn Linuses and the
Yep.
Kevin Jones, or the juggernauts of your generation,
Yeah.
still around. You know, I think
that's really well said. And one thing I do love, I mean, my career was based around progression. At least I tried to progress, and I'm a huge fan of it. I never want to see that be at the very top of any sport. I mean, if you look at any professional sport, it's always about like who is pushing the hardest. I think that's super important. But that said, my whole career being based around progression. I don't know if it's the same with you because you also had kind of fun with your career. But I think one of the things, and I always talk about it with younger riders, is what's your lane? If you're just a really, really talented snowboarder and you've got a bunch of tricks but no extra, like I think you're going to lose some people. So I think even the younger kids that are on that progression lane, like there's 5 things that people remember really about my career, and 3 of them are comedy. Probably the same with you.
Yeah, totally.
Like for me, when I think of you, one of my favorite things is you jumping the stuff in your backyard. Like that's the stuff that like always stood out to me. And I would actually tell my Holden riders, like, do a little bit of what he's doing over here. He gets it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm kind of on a tangent there.
No,
but
I think that I'd love to add to that too,
Yeah.
because I think there's also, inversely, you see the rider that is maybe one of the best snowboarders in the world and technically better than everybody, doing the most progressive tricks, but people aren't necessarily interested in them. And then you take somebody who, like I would say myself, not as talented, not as good of a rider, but being a complete dumbass,
Yeah.
jumping a golf cart,
Yeah.
you know, being a complete idiot, entertaining people. And I think that generally humans like to latch on to personalities. And some people's personality is that they're just good.
Right.
And somebody like myself is like, well, I got to make them laugh because I'm fucking struggling to get a clip here.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a bit of both, right?
totally.
So-
Yep.
But it's just smart making yourselves marketable too. The
Yeah.
bottom line is though,
It's just
our sport's
fun, too.
maturing, and it's a beautiful thing, and
Yeah.
it's paving the way for older pros to
Yeah.
stay around, and it's awesome. It's so good to see.
I got a good sidebar I want to ask you about. So I was with Jeremy Jones. He hit this spot in Minnesota that somebody in the Impalers video had already done. It was an ABD, super gnarly. And Jeremy had a good quote. He's like, you know, dude, all ABDs are reset at age 40. He's like, when you turn 40, come talk to me and hit this spot. And I think that's a good approach. Already been done tricks, reset at age 40. What are your thoughts?
It's funny because when was that? Was that in the last show? Because I've had like 4 people this week actually
I mentioned that in a show. I mentioned that.
Yeah,
I
think
forget
we
what
talked
show it
about
was.
it after the trip.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had
But
like
it's
3
true,
or
I
4
think, right?
people bring it up this week. So I've actually thought about it. I have mixed emotions because one, ABD, like, are you trying to film a video part or are you trying to just go have fun? And if you're trying to film a video part, even if you're over 40, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I think you kind of got to step it up or find a new spot if you want it in a video part. That would be actually my thing. But if you're just out there having fun with the homies, if it's a homie video, you're not trying to like do that. That's kind of my take. I'm a little harder edged on it. I'm kind of like,
So you're
you kind of have to
saying
send it.
you got to send it.
If you're gonna be playing in the sports fields, like being like, you know, Tom Brady's what?
40 plus. I don't
Is
know,
he
41, I think.
saying, hey, don't hit me as hard as the other guys because, you know, I don't know.
It's tough.
just
it's
being
tough.
devil's advocate.
That's a good
Yeah.
comparison. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think when we were at that spot with Jeremy, we weren't sure at the time what
Yeah.
had gone down. I might even been the one that said that to him
Well, I'm
about
saying,
being
I mean,
40.
Jeremy's gnarly. Like, I was out with him a few times this year, and like, it reminded me because I actually hadn't been in the streets with him in like 15 years, maybe, and I was, you know, like you would for an older homie. You're like, do you really want to do that? And then I'm like, then I was quickly remembering that he was like the king of either first try or die, like off every jump, every rail. So I mean, yeah.
Let me ask you this. How is your body feeling after a hard session in the streets comparatively?
I'm good. Like I actually
You're
feel
doing it right, huh?
I'm doing it less. I mean, typically if I was filming a video part like 20 years ago, it was like every day. Like you're lifting your leg into the car to get into the rental van, just to like move. So I was filming less, so I think that's part of it. But also just I'm eating healthier. I'm not getting drunk every night. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that you like learn as you get older. And I think, taking care of your body, exercising regularly, really eating correct has helped too. So.
A lot of stretching or what?
Nope.
No.
I'm on the J2 camp.
Anti-stretch.
What's J2's famous quote?
I can't remember it.
Stiff and pissed.
Stiff and pissed. Yes.
I will stretch something out if it's like really stiff, like it just needs a little, and that's it. Maybe actually switch to the CBD. I'll try CBD spray first, and then ice, and then if it have to stretch. But I'm all about the stiff and pissed technique.
I'm gonna
in the winter.
I'm gonna weigh in on this with Mikey. I think that Mikey, I'm a big anti-stretching for you. I think you should, at all costs, not stretch, because when you look at your snowboarding, it embodies like
I can't.
Yeah.
like I want to fucking fly off this thing and land in the parking lot.
True.
And you need to be kind of like angry and tense, and then fly off the thing. We don't want to see you loose and limber like Nicholas Mueller.
That's
we want to
true.
see you angry,
Those guys
stiff
need
and
to
pissed.
Stiff and pissed.
We want to see you stiff and pissed.
I could never. I mean, I can't even like. I think I did my first tail grab in like 20 years a couple weekends ago, because I am stiff and pissed.
It's hard to reach the tail.
But, yeah, no, I agree. I think there's different types, and I actually do a lot of yoga in the summers. So
Stop
like,
doing that. Stop doing
keep
that.
doing that. But in
Please
the
stop doing
winter,
that.
as soon as November comes around, it's all about like, just about strength.
Strength and muscling through it.
And anger.
For sure.
Stiff
Yeah, I
and
only
pissed.
eat red meat in winter. That's it. It's jerky, all beef jerky.
All beef jerky.
Yeah.
Okay, again,
Wow.
we're probably going to be taking calls here, and I'd say, I don't know, 5, 10. How long have we been going? Do you guys have any idea? What's
5:36.
So we've been going for 36 minutes. Okay, so we still got plenty of time. Well, speaking of stiff and pissed, actually, I want to circle back around for a second. But you talked about the whack pod earlier.
Yes.
Do you think we should get one of those for the bomb
I was
hole?
wondering about that. How to see how you felt about that. I mean,
Is
if
it male and female? That's what I want to know. Is it like mixed?
They
or-
didn't go into that.
Okay.
And I also wonder, like, who cleans that thing? I mean,
I don't know.
that would be a horrible job. Like,
Yeah.
what do they do?
Yeah.
And I don't know if you noticed too, or if I said it, it actually comes with full VR goggles too.
Yeah.
It's like state of the art.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically in the movie you're watching. So
Well, let's
yeah.
talk to HR, see what they think. We'll talk to HR and get a read on the whack pod. Let's talk about a couple famous Mikey LeBlanc clips. Now, anybody that's ever been to Brighton, I know we're Utah lokes, sorry, we talk about Utah stuff a lot, but there is an iconic switchback 180 from, I believe, Brainstorm, where you ride for a long time, you 180 before, and then you switch back 180 over the log to dead flat. Dude, how are the knees feeling on that one, Mikey?
Great. And props to Seth Hewitt. He filmed the follow cam. Whitey had the front angle. Maybe Shane was there too. But yeah, we were it was the last day of the year. And what I love about this is we were in Molly Green's having a Guinness, maybe two. Looked out the window and we're like, oh, I needed a shot. It's like, let's just throw some snow on the landing and go for it. So yeah, it didn't hurt at all.
Not something you planned like a week before or anything. It was just
No.
2 Guinnesses deep. Let's do
is
this.
Just kind of a.
Now, did
end
you
of the year.
ollie it first?
I think I might have straight ollied it first, and then I just went for that one.
And you got, it's hard to see because it's a small clip, but I noticed you were wearing giant aviators on the right away.
Yeah, for sure.
Those things were hitting.
That's the steez. No, I think that was the middle of the part, and I really loved it because it kind of like the music turned off and it kicked into like a different song. But you know how it is when you're putting together a part. You probably have done the same thing when you write down. And it was sort of like an empty space. It was like, how do we connect this? And this was kind of the missing link, which I was psyched on.
One thing we should talk about too is in regards to, people jumping off of stuff. A lot of times you see giant landings these days.
Yeah.
And people will take a bobcat or whatever. And if you look at this clip, you're landing basically on pavement.
Yeah.
Now, what is your thoughts? What's the logic behind the flat landing?
I mean, we're always a lot of street is emulating skateboarding, and you don't see skateboarders landing on a big ramp. So that's my thought. I mean, it's cool if you want to land on a ramp, go for it, because actually I don't care. But that's the way I like to do it, because I think it's, Jamie Thomas didn't build a big ramp when he was going for the leap of faith, et cetera, et cetera.
It's all about speed for you too, right?
Yeah.
That's the physics of it.
Yeah, physics. Go out. Go out.
Chris, you might not remember this, but do you remember X Games Real Snow? You hit that thing.
Yeah, did you try to double back?
Lights out.
Yeah, that was.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that was. So I went there, inspired by this line. I don't know. This clip never saw the light of day. Might have saw Instagram. But I went there. I had this line envisioned. So I went there on Sundays. They don't have night skiing. So we went there on Sunday. And I actually did put a big landing because I built more of a jump where you jam off the log, and I tried to do a double backflip.
That's what I heard.
And so I came in a line. I think Meyer filmed it where I did tail press the steel bar, ollied over something, and then I punched a cone. I wanted it to have that anger. So I
Sick.
punched a cone on the way in, and then I actually only did one warm-up straight air. I was so jacked up and overconfident that I didn't even lay out one backy. I went straight to double. And what happened was I kind of overshot the landing and under-rotated my flip, and I hit the ground, and it was pure ice, and that was my first severe concussion.
That's why I didn't know if you remembered it or not.
And basically, I was like throwing up on the way down the hill.
Oh.
It was bad. It was the start of a chain of concussions for me that was not good.
That's
but
insane. That's
but-
a quick double backy too. Off
yeah, I actually what happens? I just didn't get the pop. I was going too fast, so I didn't get the snap off the tail. Whereas if I was going a little bit slower and more controlled, I could have gotten the snap off the tail and got the flip around. But you live and you learn.
I think he was just too excited.
I was
really.
too excited. I was like, oh, I did one straight air. I was like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
Is this in December? Like,
It was way early.
I don't. This wasn't real snow year. This is the year before. It's May Day year. It was
May Day year.
Yep.
But it was early.
It's
Yep.
crazy.
So anyway, yeah, you win some, you lose some. We got another clip we got to talk about, which is the infamous Mikey LeBlanc ollie
the shoulder.
at where is this? Big Bear, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeffy Kink.
Jeffy Kink and Big Bear.
Middle school.
I heard there's a wives' tale where you were biting a piece of clothing or
Yeah, I
something.
forgot.
Or a telephone
usually-
book.
I have as Spencer would say, pro tip: if you're gonna do a big ollie and land flat, your teeth, concussions. Number one, the compression of hitting that hard, you get these light concussions. So I always would run a mouth guard if I would remember it, but I forgot it this day. So we just cut up a piece of my T-shirt and just bit on it for the landing, and it really helps. I mean, it really can save your teeth from shattering, which I've also done, and it can save you from getting a light concussion.
Yeah,
or
you
maybe
get concussions from your teeth.
concuss,
Yeah.
yeah, and your jaw clacking together. So yeah,
So, dude, if you look at you riding away the long lens, it looks like. Do you know how tall it is? It looks like it's 40 feet tall.
it's pretty big. I
It's-
have no idea. It's tall, but the thing that I think
It's long,
it's
too,
definitely
right?
the biggest one I ever did. But yeah, the steps you can see are really long too. And then there's a long, probably like an 8-foot long flat kink in the middle, which is usually when this thing gets shot, it's kind of hard to shoot because there's trees from the side. Meyer's wide angle looks cool from the side. You can kind of see the length of it. But like I saw footage of some kid trying to front board it like the other day, and it really looks just like a normal kink, but it's a super long and steep, pretty steep rail.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 44 stairs.
22 flat 22.
Yeah, but long stairs, you know.
Was that a cover?
No,
King
I made
Snow.
I
King
made
Snow
a,
cover.
Oh yeah, King Snow.
Yeah.
cover.
You signed it
Yeah,
in my office.
King Snow cover.
You know what? You signed it and you said, Grendies always do dumb shit. And I live by that.
Yeah,
It's the
love
best
that.
advice I've ever got.
Great
Yeah.
words to
That was
live
fun.
by.
The best part about this for me, honestly, was really was the hangout after. It was during an Ashbury demo, and there's probably like 30 or 40 of our homies and some of the best snowboarders. I mean, in that footage, it's really kind of like Louif is there, Jed's there, all the current
Jake
kind of
O.E.,
hotshots, Jake O.E.,
LMP.
LMP,
There was Keegan Velikis in there.
Keegan, yeah, all the homies. Johnny Miller is the one that eats
Bradshaw
shit.
hanging out?
I don't think he was there.
Pretty
Unfortunately.
Bradshaw of him to do that.
Well, one last thing we're going to talk about before we dig into calls. Again, the calls are 385-376-3843. We're going to take those in about 5 minutes. Right before we get into that, we got to do a quick Resi talk, though.
'Kay.
So first things first, one of the notable Resis I saw, Maddie Moe and Lauren sent me their cat. The cat, his name is, he plays for the Jazz. I'm blowing it, the name of the cat. Shit, I forget his name. Anyway, legendary cat.
Cat in a hat.
Legendary Resi. And then the second one we got is Pat Fava this is the most unbelievable Resi I've ever seen.
I almost thought this was photoshopped at
it
first.
looks photoshopped. Yeah, what do you think about that thing, Buds?
I think there might be some resi stuffing going on,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're going that high, I mean, how else are you going to do it, right?
This is a great hat.
Great
That's a
hat. I would like to
great
know
hat.
who makes this hat.
Yes. I would like to. We should sell this hat on our
Yes.
site if we can get our hands on it, or maybe
Kind of reminds
recreate
me
it.
of like Dr. Seuss kind of.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does, right?
Yep.
Pat in the hat.
Pat in the hat. There it is.
We'd like to remove that thing on top, though. We'd
Got
like
it.
to get rid of those, and then
Yeah,
we'll go
no
Pat in the hat
pom-poms.
Pro model.
Can we get an update? Make the hat striped. So
So it's legit,
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss,
Yeah.
Pat Fava,
All
Pat
right.
in the hat.
Well, we're going to work out some technical difficulties, but we're ready to take some calls. If you guys want to call in, just keep it to a quick question, and we're going to try to run through your guys' questions as fast as we can. So, again, call 385-376-3843, and we'll be ready for you guys whenever you call. We might have technical difficulties. It's usually disaster. So
I hope so. I hope we do.
You're just planning ahead for
Yeah, just
technical
like-
difficulties.
I hope it all gets messed up.
So we got a
again,
call
call
coming in.
385.
Here we go. 376-3843. You can hear my voice. And we'll be ready for you guys whenever you call. We might have technical difficulties. This is usually disaster. So I'm
So I
hearing.
hope we do.
You're just planning ahead for
Yeah, just
technical
like
difficulties.
I hope it all
now
gets messed
answer that.
So-
385. Here we go. 376-3843. You can hear my voice. And we'll be
It's
ready.
all the voice.
Basically,
what's happening is they're just getting
usually
the
disaster.
whole.
So
No, it's just
I'm hearing-
looping.
You're just
my
planning
voice.
ahead.
Yeah, just
saying
like
I hope it all
It's
gets. Now the greeting stop.
We're gonna see if we can figure this out.
We'll figure it out.
So it worked earlier in trial and error.
Of course it did.
It always does.
Of course, it's not working now.
You kind of got a Frezzy going on right now.
A Frezzy?
Yeah, front Resi.
Yeah.
Front Resi.
Yeah. How's that resi looking, buds?
I gotta fix it.
High vis.
High vis.
Austin Viz.
Yeah,
Austin
get the resi
vis.
fix. All right, how are the calls doing? Any
They stopped coming in.
There was
Guys,
a
we're gonna need
shitload
you
of
to-
calls coming in, but we can't hear anything on our end, so that's high vis.
There it is. Now I'm
Can
hearing.
you guys hear me?
Austin Viz.
Oh, I hear somebody. Yeah,
Austin
get the resi
vis.
fix.
No, that's us talking, right?
No, All right, how
Hello?
are the calls doing? Any I can hear somebody on the line.
Stopped coming in.
Yeah,
There was a
we're gonna need
shitload
you
of
guys.
calls coming in, but we
There is
Hello?
someone behind
can't.
this.
Well, we
You
gotta
can't hear
cut it.
anything
We gotta
on
cut
our
the
end, so-
calls because basically it's a lag with the stream, so it's not gonna. The calls aren't gonna work with the stream. So we're gonna not be able to take any calls today.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah, we'll take some calls when people texted in. What do we have for questions, Jules?
Will Mikey go for redemption on the triple back?
Absolutely not.
You were a
No
guy.
triple
Maybe.
back.
If you get me to the right jump and I'm pissed because it doesn't work, that's when it's going to happen again.
What else we got, Jules?
When are we getting a Mark Frank or Sean Palmer?
Ooh.
When are we getting a Mark Frank or Sean Palmer episode? We would love to have either of them on.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Buds has been talking to Marco a little bit.
Yeah, I think Marco, it's definitely, he's down. We just got to get him in town.
Awesome.
And then best Mark Frank story from Mikey.
Oh, I got a good one if we got time.
Yeah, we got time.
Does
We
it have
don't
to
have
be
calls anymore. So we're good.
PG or? Just kidding.
it
Wouldn't do that. Wouldn't do that to you, Mark.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, one time I was in Japan with Mark Frank, and believe it or not, I'm not a McDonald's guy, but in Japan sometimes you got to eat McDonald's just because you're just out there. And actually, the way they serve it looks exactly like the commercial. I don't know if you ever gotten a McDonald's burger and you're like, it doesn't look anything like the commercial, but in Japan they're like, it looks perfect. Anyway, he got this fish sandwich, and the second he opened it, in the entire van filled with this kind of rancid fish smell, and he just ran with it, and we're like, oh man, and like all day he would he'd pull it out of his pocket in the car and be like, and put it back in his pocket, and then every once in a while we'd just take a bite, and I think like 6 hours later we're at this rail spot outside, he pulls it out of his pocket, just smelling this hilarious fish sandwich, and he ate the whole thing. It was just like ridiculous, but he had to be there, but it was like crying, laughing.
It smelled crazy.
days.
I was there
Yeah,
as
you were
well,
there.
yeah.
It was amazing.
And we were all pretty hungover, I
Oh, my
remember,
God.
and that fish smell. Woo.
I mean, Mark comes off. I think he's been goofy in some videos, but like if on a road trip with that dude, he is one of the funniest dudes in the world. And also, if you made a joke or I make a joke, he'd always say this thing like, That's so stupid.
You try to make your joke not be
Yeah.
as good as his joke.
He's the shit. He's so
I'll
good.
never forget him though, spreading apart the burger bun
It's so
and then
amazing.
package it back up, put it in his pocket.
So sick.
Maniac.
Someone wants to know what Mikey's favorite memory of your career is.
What's your favorite memory of your career, Mikey? Somebody wants to know.
Oh my God, that is a
It's
hard
a tough question. It's a loaded question.
Big question.
Favorite moment of my career? Oh, I mean, I honestly couldn't pick one. I mean, one of the most notable ones is getting a random phone call from Whitey, just one day, like, hey, this is Whitey. I got your number. And like, at the time the videos were like, there was like 2 or 3 videos you'd want to be in. And that was pretty shocking. But I don't know. I mean, most memorable? There's too many. I'm sorry.
It's been a long career.
Yeah.
Well, let's change gears, and I think we should talk about some cool community events that have been happening
Yeah.
lately. First things first. I mean, we talked about Russell's event with Russ firsthand, which was awesome. But we went to one the other day, Dustbox Be Somebody.
That was sick.
They basically set up a kink rail at the Delta Center, or Vivint is what it's now called, and a bunch of hungry AM kids went absolutely ballistic. What'd you think about that, Mikey?
I mean, it was exactly what you want it to be. Like, there was a bunch of... I rolled up, and it was obviously an amazing scene. Cobra Dogs was there serving dogs. It was just a beautiful spring day with these flowering trees and snowboarding. It was warm. I mean, in the crowd, you had, like, some of the best snowboarders in the world, but they were really letting the AMs, like, get after it. And then occasionally, like, Zeb jumped in there just because he wanted to snowboard. It was kind of like whoever wanted to get in there and rip. Caleb was up in there, but, like, really, it was like a great stage for some of these young bucks to come out, and we were all exposed to some new kids that were ripping, and the vibe was awesome. So
Yeah, it's nice. I love the fact that it was on an actual street spot
Yeah.
because as they dropped in, they basically like had to
Go through those poles.
2 pillars, which
That
is like a
was
real
sick.
street spot. The rail's wobbly, like a real street
Yeah.
spot. So it was cool to see the street dogs. There's a lot of cool events happening in snowboarding. You have natural selection, you have your Dew Tours, your X Games, you have Bomb Hole Cups, you have Russell's event. There's just so much cool stuff, and then to have something for the street dogs, I thought was really cool. Some notable showings. I really liked watching Austin Viz. He was absolutely ripping.
I like Norm, and
Yeah,
I love
Norm
his
won.
name.
Yeah,
Norm
he's
was
the one
sick.
who won, huh?
He
Norm.
had the 60, like his steez was like 90s drawers skate, like so good.
He's on Matt Heenahan's pro model. Also, Mike Little.
Yeah,
Mike Little just was Mr. Consistent out there. Pat Fava was ripping.
yeah, always.
As far as women, Egan, who won,
Yeah.
she board slid to 50 to back 1, which was beautiful. There's a lot of ripping happening. She also did gap board slide, like perfect on that. So that was cool. I mean, it's definitely a heavy rail to step to. Like a lot of people, Henna went over the bars. She like tomahawked down the stairs.
And the
which
guy
is
trying to
super
do
heavy.
who was the guy trying to do the 270, the cab too?
Oh, so
He
yeah.
went pretty buck onto the stairs too.
Yeah, Bombhole put up $270 for 270 through the kink, and I didn't think anybody was going to do it, but Sam Anderson, he cab two'd through the kink, and I believe Aiden Haskell was putting him up, but it was a heavy cab two, and then Viz backlipped the hell out of that thing. That was so great event. Huge shout out to the Dust Box for putting that thing on.
Well, they had $10,000 to give away too.
Well, I
I mean,
also loved
look how
how,
far
like,
they've come.
Yeah, I love that, and I just love how, like, even up to a day before the event, they're like, a bunch of people were like, I don't think you're gonna pull it off. Like, this is crazy. We don't think you're gonna. It was just so perfect for what their crew and what it was. It was just like they did have the money to do the prizes, but it was really loose in the right kind of way, and it just felt authentic because of that too. There wasn't like a bunch of banners. It wasn't like super official in any way. Like, homies were jumping on the turntables and spinning music, and the mic was being passed around to all different people. It was just sick.
Tommy
It was
Towns.
loose.
And then quickly, I kind of want to cover natural selection. Like, obviously, the first one in Jackson was iconic. They're so fun. They're so exciting to watch. The ones that are pre-recorded, like where they pre-record it and then play it, they just don't have the same energy for me. So for me, with natural selection, I think the contest series is amazing.
Yeah.
But they should try to figure out how to live stream as much as they can, because the pre-recorded, I think I mad respect to what they're doing, because I'm on the edge of my seat yelling on the Jackson one. but the bald faced, and I think the Alaska one comes out soon. I can't quite get as into it, you know.
I was told the Alaska one might blow some minds.
Really?
We'll
Sure.
see.
Okay.
I've been told by several different people it's like the best backcountry display
Wow.
ever seen.
And Alaska's been like really, really good this year. from
Well,
what
and
I hear,
apparently
so-
it was like that the best day you can imagine,
Amazing.
like safe snow,
Yep.
beautiful bluebird day, and people just going ham. But we'll see. We'll see if it translates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to check that one out. I bet that will be. I mean, that's heavy
Yeah.
snowboarding.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big claims. We'll see.
Totally.
I believe it. I bet some of the people you're talking to know what they're talking about.
Yep. And then the last event that I want to talk about is Bombhole Cup. We'll do some self what do you call that, promotion, I
Deprecating.
guess.
Self-promotion?
Self-deprecation.
Self-props?
Self-deprecation, yeah. Self-defecation, maybe, too. But I think the thing that was really cool with the event is that, you know, when you look up, we wanted something that was for everybody, and a lot of people are doing these events, so it's not rocket science. But when you look, there's a lot of events like Dew Tour that's just pros, and then you have like kind of fun like grassroots events. But we wanted pros to be riding the same setup as beginners, and so with the bank slalom, you know, we had Josh Dirksen, Nils Mindig, Yuki Kadono, and then we have, you know, women and guys that are just learning and so you're racing the same class. Same with the other, you know, you have Sage Kotzeberg, and then you have the Dust Box, and then you have, you know, Jed Anderson and Jake Kuzik and Torgeir Bergam and just this incredible Desiree Melanson. It was just like it was definitely a great group of people, whereas beginners all the way up to the biggest pros were able to ride the same stuff and have a good time, and felt like a good community event. What do you think,
Yeah,
Buds?
getting everyone together like that, because a lot of, like you're saying, it's either pro event or a AM event. This is just everybody, the community together, and I mean, I had a blast. I think it's safe to say we'll do this again.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's going to go down, and hopefully even gets bigger and better. I hope to increase my speed a little bit next year. I felt like I could have done better, but we'll see.
I remember going through the course, and I was like, "This is bad. I am not
Yeah,
good
right.
at
Wax
that."
tech.
There
You
was
need a
this
good
one
wax
turn
tech.
that was like almost an uphill
Yeah.
turn, and it was sketchy. But everyone had to deal with the same go.
We got some notable clips. We should definitely first bring up Cooper Whittier's switchback lip, the Hellride kink.
Yeah, that was
Now
sick.
this clip is absolutely electric. Like, you can see the crowd going absolutely berserk after.
He really put it down on the landing too, just like snap. That was sick.
The thing I love about Cooper's switchback lip, it looks so switch. You know,
Yeah.
he's looking back up the hill.
I
And
wonder if he changed his stance for that or not.
yeah, we have to get him on the line. You can see Jake Kuzik, Tommy Towns cheering him on after the land. But the thing I like is if you watch the clip, he leans really into it. Watch how far his body gets over his nose, and he really leans into it.
That's so sick.
And when Cooper does a trick, he really puts all of his body into it, and that's what I love.
Yeah.
Another clip we got is from Spencer. Spencer put on an absolute show. He went gap board slide on the sea to end the whole contest. Everybody went berserk. He was a real showman out there. Mikey, you want to talk about showmanship? I know you know about showmanship.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's why Spencer and I ended up hanging out. Maybe we both kind of get that a little bit. But yeah, that was amazing. I actually wasn't at the event, but those are the things that I gravitated. The first two clips were actually the two that I really kind of got burned in my brain, even though I wasn't there.
Spenny on the jump was
Yeah,
some
the
showman
1260
too.
or whatever.
He was just going
was
crazy
amazing,
out there,
for sure.
hyping the crowd up
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Yuki had some good
He's
showmanship.
not scared
out
of
there
a good
too.
time. That's for sure.
Yeah, Spenny's definitely not scared of a good time, and it's obvious when you watch him ride. But yeah, Yuki was a good showman out there too. People just hyping up the crowd. And
Yeah.
Yuki had a huge resi, which was awesome and good for the course, I guess, for a bomb hole event. Saw him drinking out of his bomb hole cup as well, which
That's
is
sick.
classic.
That's legit and classy.
Yeah, and Class E.
Okay, and the last clip we have is from Eden Haskell, and he jumped the jump on a snow skate, which the
sick.
tries before he was like getting destroyed. You can see the entire crowd. It's, you know, there's hundreds of people there, and it was just, we ended the open class on Aiden, and he landed the snow skate, and it was just climactic
That's so
as hell.
That's what was sick is that you were calling, like, when he goes, it's the last go, and he actually stomped it. It like
That's
couldn't have
so
gotten
rad.
better for him.
And then we also have, you know, we had who was on the mic. Joey B, how you doing? Shout outs. He killed it with Todd Richards as well. Richards, like those two had me, my stomach was hurting from laughing. So thank you to everybody that came out for the event. And since we can't take calls, I'm going to go into the YouTube comments and basically read a couple comments, and then we can answer some questions. Sorry about the call situation. It's our first live show.
We will figure it out next time.
So there's a great question about to Eastone. This is for Eastone. With all your years of photos, do you ever think about doing TED Talks about life you have had in the industry and photos you could give the normal viewer on site behind the lens?
That would be dope. I guess we'll see if Ted calls me up. Is
Yeah.
Ted actually a person?
I think he is, yeah.
He is. Well, Ted.
Isn't it an acronym? It stands for like
Yeah, I think it's an
technology,
acronym.
engineering, and design or something. like
Ted,
that?
give me a call.
No, I thought Ted Danson started it.
Oh, is it Ted
Yeah,
Danson
Ted
or Ted? I don't know any
Ted
other
Borland?
Teds. Ted Borland, yeah.
I think
It's
it
Ted
was-
Borland.
who
Ted
could it be?
Borland started.
Don't know a lot of Teds, huh?
I got another question here. This is for Chris. Do you ever think of building your own rails for the streets? If you want to be, if you could do it, special place where it would be. That's a good question. I have actually fabricated a spot before,
Sick.
but it's been a while. I don't really think bringing your own stuff to the streets. I mean, I respect the commitment, but I think my take is really more of a play it how it lies situation. Like if you got to bring a prop, like I brought a cone somewhere where you punch the cone and then wing a double backflip. Like, yeah, that's
It
showmanship.
bit you in the ass, man. Knocked you out.
It did. Well, I went and rebated at the cabin. I actually ended up
That's sick.
getting that one. My palm was bruised from
I
punching
saw
the
that,
cone.
too. I like that.
Yep. So that's a solid one.
You know what we could do, though, is we could befriend some architects and tell them what we like and see if we can't get that built in the city planning.
We got another question from
Play the long game.
James Smith. This one's for Mikey.
Uh-oh.
We know you like metal music. If you were to pick a pop song for today's video part, what would you pick and why, Mikey?
Pop song. And why?
Do you know a lot of pop songs?
Yeah, I mean, I love all kinds of music. I think I've often thought like a Madonna song, like that one that's kind of got the Spanish vibe to it, Isla Bonita, would be a super dope powder part. So that would be a pretty sick one.
We got a couple other Mikey questions. This one's really good. Mikey, your part in Ride Rats, what was up with the toboggan methods?
I think that was from some extras from the app. No, we went out the year after. I filmed the toboggan and stuff with the absinthe, and Shane and I were just messing around getting some jump shots in the boggy because I just didn't want to give it up. That thing is extremely fun to snowboard on, or boggin on, I should say.
It's called boggin.
Bogganing.
We got another one for Mikey. How planned was the double set ollie at Bear? Was it brewing for years or spur of the moment chuck?
Spur of the moment. Well, the day before, I went there with Joe Carlino was like, have you seen this set? And I was like, no. And he took me there. And I think I might have had a couple beers. And I was like, oh, I could do that. Kind of a claimer mode. The next day, he wakes me up after a couple beers. And I'm taking a nap. And he's like, let's go. And I was like, okay. And we went. So kind of spur of the moment. Yeah, I had never seen this set before.
Worked out good. Another question. Mikey, how do you still have knees?
They're attached. Right here.
It's a fake leg. It's actually a yeah. I got a question. This is
No
for
knee
myself.
surgeries either, right?
Yeah, that's a scary question. What is up with Oakley Ghost? This is Trevor Andrews basically made a little Oakley line. His thing's
Sick.
Gucci Ghost, so Oakley Ghost is a little Trevor Andrews
Trevor's the
situation.
shit.
He's the man. And then this is a great one for Mikey. Favorite board graphic from back in the day. What do you got, Mikey?
I mean, I kind of have to go with Noah's skateboard. I mean, I know Hats had the same one, I believe, at the same time, but that Noah, the yellow top sheet, yellow-orange, holding the board, skateboard, I don't know. It was just a dream graphic. I wanted that board. I never had that board. My friend had that board, so.
What about out of your graphics?
I don't know.
I know one.
I mean, I like the Pitbull, but that was cool. The Pitbull was cool because it was a Banksy ripoff, really, and we actually did speak with. We had Banksy. I spoke with Banksy on the phone trying to get him. We were going to give all the board profits to charity, and he was almost down, but he had never done a commercial product. So that one was kind of special too because he was almost on the line, and
Wow,
he's
that's
a pretty
cool.
amazing, impactful artist.
Okay, we got a good one here. Chris, break out the smelling salts.
Oh God, I ain't doing it.
Have you done one, Mike? Oh,
Yeah, I done
He
them a
doesn't-
bunch.
He's done them, but he's not
Done
down
them a
tonight.
lot. I'm
Yeah, he
allergic.
did a commercial where he did a lot of them. We'll smack a quick smelling salt. We did a lot of these at Bombhole Cup. You all send it to you, buds?
All right.
Oh my God.
Woo, that one is
Hot damn.
hitting. Oh
Extra
my
spicy.
God. Oh, that
is
got me.
hilarious.
Jesus. All right, Mikey, who is the gnarliest snowboarder you ever filmed with?
I mean, I'm gonna give it to Jeremy.
Jeremy Jones?
Yeah, just
That was a
because
spicy one.
Jeremy was, like I said earlier, first try or die, and just I mean, I moved to Utah and I was out with a bunch of people, and he just was like the guy that would like go for the most technical progressive trick first try off every jump, and just if he's gonna back 50 a giant gnarly rail, just like there's no just in. Like he didn't like roll up like I would roll up like 10 times and be like, "Ugh," and he's just like I'm doing this. So
Amazing.
and I also saw him film an entire video part with 2 slip discs in his back the whole year. I mean, he's just tough.
He's just built different.
He's tough,
Yeah.
mentally and physically.
I'd say
He's
he's not only
incredible.
built different, but his mind is
Built
different.
in every way possible.
Now, we also have a great, another question from somebody wants to know, how do we get more pros wearing helmets? And I can kind of weigh on this a little bit. I started wearing one due to my concussion issues. And so I think it's one of those things where it's really up to the rider. It shouldn't be, it should be your own choice. You know, my circumstances are different. I started wearing one because I smacked my head, but you know, it's really up to the riders and it's their choice. And I think that, you know, when it comes to it, a lot of riders like myself, my way of thinking was I want to look cool on my snowboard. It's a sad thing to say, but if you care about your gear and you care about your look, the helmet doesn't always help that. I think it's going to start to change with time. It might be like the NHL where you're like, remember when people didn't wear helmets? Like that might eventually be a thing.
Yeah.
I think it's more common with the younger generation. So I think the more people that wear them, the stigma changes. But I also don't think it should be pushed on anybody. I think it should be, if you want to wear one, cool. And if you don't as well. Mikey, you have any thoughts on this?
I honestly don't care. I mean, I don't wear a helmet. Which is probably pretty stupid, to be honest. But I've only worn a helmet once during contests, and I somehow landed only on my head every time I wore that thing. So, I don't know. But, you know, if I had a little kid, I mean, I actually did take, you know, stepson a bunch of times snowboarding, and I was kind of a bad parent.
Didn't put a helmet on him.
No, but, you know, that is dumb. So I think Chris is right. Maybe the stigma will change over time, and people will start wearing them. I've had my fair share of head injuries, so yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's been about a little over an hour. I feel pretty good about the show. How do you guys feel? You have any other topics you want to cover before we wrap this thing up? Anything you want to say, Mikey?
Yeah, I want to say congrats to you guys. I mean, I was one of the 17th guest. And I just want to say congrats to you two and everybody on the team because it's really incredible. And I want to thank you sincerely because this is such a gift to snowboarding. I think it's not just snowboarders listening, but I think it's, people outside of snowboarding that now listen because it's very authentic. And I think it's a wonderful gift to snowboarding. So I just want to thank you both for that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you, Mikey. It's always a pleasure having you. You're one of my favorite episodes we ever done. And for those of you guys watching, we just got this new live streaming equipment. As you can tell with the calls, we're not dialed in yet, but it's going to be really easy for us to go live. So our new show, All Banged Up, this is episode 5. We're going to be turning these things out, this live show. So we're going to be able to take calls and we'll iron out all the kinks and hopefully have more of these coming at you. And if you like it, throw it in the comments. And also, don't be afraid to subscribe to our channel if you're watching on YouTube. We'll also post this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify so you guys can listen as well. So just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And what's up, Jules?
Someone really wants Mikey to say lightning bolt. They really want you to.
Lightning bolt?
Oh, lightning bolt! That was your quote from from one of the Videograss movies. Because
Really?
remember LARPing was a thing? You're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Lightning bolt.
Okay, I'll try it. I don't even remember that, but I'll try. Lightning bolt. Go for it.
Is that it, Jules? Anything else we should cover before we wrap it up? All right, let's wrap up the stream, and thank you guys so
All right,
much for
thank you,
tuning
guys.
in. Appreciate it.